You built the box. Behind every door in there is a version of your life that you could have lived.
So just to let you know, this interview is going to be weird. We're going to start with spoilers.
Cool.
Okay.
And then we're going to get into non-spoilers.
Okay.
Go for weird.
Love
Okay.
it.
So first of all, I finished the series yesterday. I want to say congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots of questions. Is it possible that the Jason at the end of the series that ends up with his family is not the actual Jason that left, but like a very, very close version of that Jason?
Fantastic question.
It's a great question. It's a little cynical. Yes, of course. It's the multiverse. It's like there could be millions and millions of Jasons. And I mean, our intention is that this is the guy we started with. This is the guy we're ending with. It was never like, oh, hey, audience, we just took you through 9 episodes of something, but guess what? That's not the guy. Like that was never our intention. But in the world of infinities, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, in a world where the show also begs the question, and again, in the cynical read of it, but fun, can you ever really know anyone?
Mm-hmm.
It's a valid question. It's, and it's but it wasn't the dramatic intent, but
yeah. That'll be the season 10 ending beat. We'll just reveal to the audience, you've been watching the wrong Jason for 100 episodes.
If you do statistics, it's not the Jason that left. It's a different version than the one that left, but it's probably very close to that version.
Yes.
But there's no way of actually knowing.
Correct.
There's not. Did he really make it back to his world? Also, is that really exactly his world? Didn't check under every rock to make sure it was all.
How do you know?
How do you know?
It is 100% his world.
This is exactly my point. And by the way, that's what I commend you guys on, because it's not you can read into this where he got back, but you can also read into this that he didn't get back. This is just, like a close version of everything.
It's a great read.
Yeah, it is.
I love that.
So Jason and his family at the end go into the box and they enter a new world. Do you guys actually know what that world is, or is it sort of one of those where it's just up to the audience to decide?
I never let myself contemplate what that world was. To me, the world represented a new start. It represented hope. I never wanted to know for myself. And I do this with a lot of my books. A lot of my books have, I wouldn't call fully open-ended endings, but they leave a lot of room for the reader to take the ball and run with it. I did the same thing in Recursion. I love that when you get to the end, I'm handing the ball to the reader and saying, or to the audience in the case of the show, and saying, now you imagine what's next.
If this show ends up being a big hit for Apple, is this the kind of thing where you would continue, or do you both view this as a one and done season?
I think we're of the mind that, and we have been from the beginning, that we let the characters and the story tell us, is there more to tell? I think it's possible. It's possible there's more.
Yeah, and don't forget, this thing has kind of evolved in a way. It was when we first bought the book, it was to adapt as a movie, and then the book sort of declared it needed to be a series, and then the conversation was around doing one season that was essentially the book, but there were conversations about, let's see naturally if it lends itself to more, and so we're not being coy. That's sort of what it's been. It's possible.
I'll put it this way. We did not build the series thinking, oh, this is season 1 and this is 2 and this is 3. We made season 1 to be the best representation of the book as possible. Yeah. We're not holding cards back for later things. We left it all on the field.
Well, also, the other thing is, because I want to bring up like what happens with Ryan and Amanda and how they end up on that world finding each other. the fact is, another season could focus on other characters
Correct.
that are, around the box, if you will.
1,000,000%.
100%.
Blake, I'm sure will tell you, that Amanda is a character that people like consistently ask about and want to know more. What happened to Amanda? Where did
that ending where we leave Amanda and Ryan is literally a love letter back to all of the people who have written me since the book came out and said, "What happened to Amanda? Like, she just vanished. Why did you do that to her? We loved her. Where's Amanda?" That ending is my mea culpa to everyone who read the book and wondered.
How do you think, and I'm curious about this, how did Ryan find Amanda? And what do you envision? Like, do you think they're happy together? Is it like a relationship thing? Like, what do you want to tease?
Now we do have to be coy because if there is more, now
you're
starting
getting
to get into. It's a very smart question.
I'm just throwing that out there. You know what I mean? Because I as a viewer, I was wondering, how did Ryan find her? It's just throwing that out there. All right, I'll skip.
I know, but I know how he found her, but I can't say.
I understand. I'm getting close to what could be more in the story.
Yeah.
Do you think Leighton is having the time of his life traveling the box? And do you think he ends up picking a place to stay?
Which Leighton? So
exactly.
Which Leighton? the one who built the box, or more of the party boy Leighton, which we call Leighton 3.
The Leighton that's beat up is not going to make it. The Leighton that's the partier, I think will end up finding something.
Yes. He is having the time of his life. Yes. He is living his best alternate reality world existence.
This is a very geeky, nerdy question. So when Joel and Alice are traveling and they buy the hot chocolate or they're buying things in the alt worlds, how are they paying for it?
That's a great question.
Apple Pay.
Apple Pay.
That's a good answer, but I am curious if you thought about that because I never see anyone using money.
It's a little bit of an Easter egg for that world. A little inside baseball, we call it, in the scripts, we number each world consecutively in the order they're presented. That's World 26. World 26 is a super important world for dark matter. Because we call it the present perfect world. It's a world that figured a lot of stuff out. And one of those things is currency. And we've always imagined it as a world where it's not driven by money, where we figured out sort of how to transcend those transactions. It's a world of empathy. It's a world of progress. It's frankly the world that I wish we were all living in right now.
It's also the world you could place a Star Trek series in.
Dude, 100%. Yeah.
So one of the things that I also really enjoy is how Joel's character is very smart, but could not see the repercussions of all the decisions made in the box, like forming alt versions. And it makes me always think about, do you think scientists will actually watch this show and realize, basically, do you think scientists will ever learn from Hollywood? Because I think Jurassic Park and things like this are great examples of what, the repercussions. But scientists, I think, will always do what they're going to do.
No, I don't think they will. Because if you look at...
do what they're going to do?
I don't think they will learn from the cautionary tales. I mean, if you look at how we are just racing headlong into artificial intelligence with zero guardrails, like, let's create something super intelligent as fast as is humanly possible. I mean, read Nick Bostrom's book, Superintelligence. You just want to have an existential freak out. No, so I don't think so. I don't think that we are limited by any type of, should we do this? It's like the Jeff Goldblum quote in Jurassic Park. Oh, you didn't think to say, should I? You just thought, could I?
Right. And is it the job of the scientist to even have that governor, or is it there, or does that fall on us?
That's a great.
You know what I mean? I don't know that scientists should sit around and I don't know. I mean, I think there was a big movie made about that recently, but anyway.
Jumping into non-spoiler questions, the series is 9 episodes. How did you decide on the 9? Was it almost 8? Was it almost 10?
It was going to be 8.
It was going to be 8, yeah.
The moment that we were able to move it from being a movie to television, I literally that day, I just sat down and I sketched out the shape of season 1, and it was 8 episodes. And I knew where every single end of episode cliffhanger was. And by the way, those all, for the most part, survived into the final, what you've seen. But as we were doing it, it just became clear that we needed to build out the relationship of Amanda and Jason a little bit more. And so because we're living in this beautiful world of long form television that's not even, it's somewhere between TV and film, we said we need one more episode. And they said, great. So it's 9 episodes because that's how many episodes we needed to tell the story.
Yeah.
How did the series change in the editing room in ways you guys did not expect?
We had a wealth of time to edit the show. We had phenomenal editors. Joe Leonard and Jordan Goldman really helped shape what these first episodes, they came in, you get these director's cuts, and then you look at them and you're like, okay, now we have to start cutting. And it's actually like, it's honestly my favorite part of the process because it's like, it's rewriting. It's just writing again. How did it change? I think the show found like the big moments to build these episodes around and sort of made them the anchors of each episode.
But it also, we changed point of view more.
That's true.
And so that became a departure, from, and not a departure necessarily from the script, but from the book. And so we were finding, you can imagine, some of that is what propels the drama, the intercutting and the sort of growing suspense. And I think there was a lot of work done around how and when to leave certain worlds for others and different characters. And that was a find it as you go kind of thing.
It's really tricky because you can imagine there's a lot of potential for confusion. You're going back and forth between worlds. You're going back and forth between different versions of characters. And we never wanted the audience to be confused. So, finding like, it's a subtle thing, but you might hear these, it's like a snap and it's subtle and it's subliminal. But we started doing that. One of our editors had this idea, and that became how we subliminally signal to the audience we're moving from one world to another.
Individual question for each of you because I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
Matt, I'm very curious. Why did Craven move to Christmas? And what can you tease about Craven in the next Venom movie? And Blake, I'm just curious. You obviously have many other books. What is the next thing that you've written that will end up on the screen or in a movie theater?
Craven moved to Christmas because we're excited about it. And Christmas is the best release period there is when you get people with time to go back to the movie over and over again. And that was a real reflection of how the studio felt about the movie. We're really excited. I'm absolutely not going anywhere near any other teasers in that universe. I'm here for Dark Matter, but that's a great move that reflects just the feeling about the movie.
It's also because there's no other superhero movie then.
It's a perfect date. Yeah,
I have 2 things based on books that could or may not go this year. One's called Famous, off an ancient book that I wrote in 2002. And the other is Summer Frost, which is kind of my AI horror story. It's a novella that very hopeful. We might see some fun news coming soon on that.
I know what that means. And so I'm looking forward to reading some announcement very soon. Listen, congrats, you guys.
Thanks, man.
For really doing a great job with this. I really enjoyed it. And thank you for giving me your time.
Thanks for your great questions. It's fun to talk to you.
Thank you, man.
Cool.
Cheers.
Have a great day. Thanks.
Okay, man.